2020, and we've got a slew of companies presenting today. Next up is MicroX. MicroX is developing and commercializing a range of innovative products for the global health and security markets based on proprietary cold cathode carbon nanotube emitter technology. The electronic control of emitters with this technology enables X-ray products with significant reduction in size, weight, and power requirements, enabling greater mobility and ease of use in existing X-ray markets, and a range of new and unique security and defense applications. We have Peter Rowland, the Managing Director of MicroX, with us on the line today. Peter worked in the engineering, design, development, and project management of innovative high-tech military and scientific equipment in his early career in Scotland. In Australia, he ran an engineering design consultancy group, was Director of Business Development at BAE Systems, and then was Managing Director of ASX-listed LX Medical Lasers, which designed and manufactured ophthalmic laser equipment. More recently, Peter was the Vice President of Asia Pacific Operations for BioLase Technology, a NASDAQ-listed therapeutic medical device supplier. Peter, I'm going to throw it to you now. You can take it away with all of the jargon.
Thank you very much, Laura, and good morning, everyone. It's the first time I've ever done a presentation like this from my home office. All non-essential staff, such as myself, are staying away from our facility because we're in full production at the moment, and we want to reduce the risk to our production staff. So I won't take you through the detail of the disclaimer. But MicroX, as Laura's introduced, is Adelaide-based company, and we have developed some new technology which allows us to greatly miniaturize the weight, size, and allows electronic control of X-ray tubes. So that developing that technology it's a platform technology we can apply to a number of products, and we're exploiting that in both health and security markets. The first product is we've developed in collaboration with our distributor Carestream Health. It's called the DRX Revolution Nano. We'll come into more details of that, but it's basically an ultra lightweight digital X-ray for bedside imaging in hospitals. It was launched last year, currently on sale in 12 countries around the world. I think that'll be 13 countries by Monday when we ship up units up to Vietnam. But it's very small, highly portable, and very easy to disinfect, as they've discovered in recent weeks. COVID-19 is driving an unprecedented change in the market for mobile X-ray, and so we're seeing a surge in orders for Nano right now, hence why the production team are working so hard, and we're so keen to keep them safe. We've had 3.6 million in orders since January, and there's no sign of that diminishing. We're also accelerating the second product in the family, which is basically a variant for military applications for use in deployed military hospitals. Again, I'll talk about that in a little while. But our first sales of that are likely to come later this year. Bit of a race whether the first sale will be to the US Army or to the Australian Army, but we're happy that we're well on track for both of those. Two key strategic partnerships are very core for the business. The distribution of the Nano is by Carestream Health, that used to be Kodak Medical, and we have a big collaboration on the security side with Thales, the big French technology company. We are in the middle of a $15 million capital raising. We completed a placement of 8.75 million week before last, and a 6.25 underwritten entitlement offer is in progress and closes next week. And the purpose of that is to extend our funding runway, of course, and these key growth initiatives. So I'll come back to that with some more. That's just the overview, quick overview here of the plan of our product roadmap. The rover is the next one we're concentrated on. Tick on Nano. Next after that is a counter-terrorism imaging, a device that can be carried by a robot, and produce an X-ray image of a potential IED to allow an explosives disposal technician to identify how it works and work out how to make it safe. And then much further out is based on some contracts that we've won from the British government in the UK, the Department for Transport, technology in a mobile baggage screener, which incorporates both what we're doing in the counterterrorism device and the medical device. The same technology comes together to give this portable baggage screener, which looks like it could be the core of a future checkpoint X-ray at airports. So our first product, the Nano, as it was said, it's bedside imaging. There's a view of it there. Give you an idea of how it competes. Most of the top line bedside imagers that have been in use in hospitals for many years are around the 500, 600 kilogram mark. Ours is 90 kilograms. That gives you an idea of the technology advantage we get from this small X-ray tube. We have FDA approval, CE marking, and approval here, obviously with the TGA in Australia. And say we're already sold, and it's operating in 12 countries around the world. Very, very strong reliability performance. We're very proud of that. We worked very hard at life testing before we launched the product. And we got some very good customer feedback about the ergonomics. The nicest one was a hospital in Canada that said that the unit had clearly been designed by radiographers, which is really what we were hoping for. So that's rather good. It's an addressable market there of about 500 million in first-tier mobile X-ray, expanding as that heads into countries in Asia and South America with less well-funded healthcare systems. And the orders for this are growing strongly with the COVID pandemic. The connection there, of course, is that COVID-19 is the symptoms as it progresses are really quite like pneumonia. So you get fluid on the lungs which is the body's immune system response to the disease. And so diagnosing it and in the presence of fluid in the lungs and monitoring the development is critical for the severe cases. So the recommended way to track patients in this is with mobile X-ray. American College of Radiology is discouraging people from using large fixed rooms, either CT or general radiation, because of the disinfectant issue. If you bring patients into a room, the disinfectant procedure in cross transmission can be quite severe, whereas a small mobile X-ray like ours can be disinfected very quickly, and that makes a huge difference to the productivity in hospitals at this time. So the big change in the market is that everybody, it's become very unpredictable. The only thing that we seem to be pretty certain of is that it's growing, but everybody is looking for orders like tomorrow. So rather than the normal sort of 12 weeks notice that you get of tender activity or ordering, what we're seeing now is and you know, we've had conversations like this with Carestream, where you knew about 3 weeks ago, New York Health Department went out to purchase 200 mobile X-rays on a single day, and they were just looking for whoever could deliver as much of that as soon as they could. So hence us preparing with not just the production capacity, but the material on the shelves to build it is part of what we're at. In the March quarter, $3 million of orders, and that's still been growing in April. If you looked at our order book through this year, it started in North Asia, kind of Singapore then, and Italy and the UK, and of course America. But now we're seeing the first Australian orders as people in Australia prepare for the worst case. The Alfred Hospital in Melbourne was the first to get it. In fact, they came back and bought a second and a third, as they were a big reference site for us, because the staff there helped us in the early stages of development. And the reference sites are quite obviously quite important, because the sales cycle now doesn't usually involve demonstrations because of the urgency. So our friends at the Alfred are very keen to tell anyone who calls in their experiences and how happy they are with the units, particularly in this application. So the next product is a development of Nano. It's for the market here is the deployed medical facilities that the military use, either in support of war, and there's been a number of these obviously in Afghanistan in recent years, but also for natural disasters and humanitarian aid. It's an unmet need, because you can't use a 600 kilogram X-ray on a situation like that on an earth floor or ductboard flooring. So we've pretty much got this market to ourselves, which is quite good. And the military are extremely excited, because they haven't before this been able to consider a top tier performance, and they can only really cope with stuff that's about 100 kilograms, and 100 kilograms at the moment buys you a small animal veterinary X-ray, which obviously is less than ideal if you're trying to get critical diagnosis of a combat soldier. So we are only a few weeks away from submitting our FDA 510K application for this product, and we're expecting contract activity from the US Army Medical Material Agency thereafter. We've already been selected as part of a procurement for the Australian Army for this product. That procurement is moving at the usual glacial pace of defence procurement, but we'll see that units under that contract being supplied probably next year. About 170 million just in addressing this market in NATO countries, because it's the NATO countries that use this kind of style of deployed hospital. It's a NATO standard, so that doctors and nurses from any of the armed forces in the NATO countries can go into one of these facilities and feel very much at home, and knowing how the practices and procedures work. So we are currently doing our final stage of testing. As I said, we'll have our 510K submission hopefully in the next few weeks, and expect the sale very shortly thereafter. So the recent capital raising that we've done, we went looking for 15 million, is very much to ramp up nano production. As I mentioned earlier, the unpredictability of the market in this climate is not helpful, because nobody knows which health agency tomorrow is going to order and how much they're ordering. And the tenders are to a very large part awarded on can you deliver in the timescale that we need. Our unit is clearly preferred, because it's uniquely engineered for this high intensity of chest X-rays. But if we're offering deliveries 6, 7, 8 weeks out, then the contracts just don't come. So we're looking to position ourselves with enough of our supply chain material to be able to produce 2 units a day. We're at the moment producing 1 unit a day, but within 4 or 5 weeks, we should be at a sustainable 2 unit a day, and be able to offer delivery times much less than 4 weeks. And we believe that that'll help us capture a lot of the market. This the funding also helps the commercialization of the rover. Part of what we need to do for that is the development of a new. We're going to extend the X-ray performance, which means we need a higher powered generator. Now, the generator is basically the high voltage power supply in the device, and so we'll be fast tracking that development to position ourselves best for the ongoing military business. In terms of putting some faces to the company, this is our board. We've got a very experienced and a good breadth of experience in the board. Pat O'Brien's the chairman, based out of Melbourne, and recently joined is David Knox, Adelaide based. Many of you might know as the former CEO of Santos, but with a very strong record in developing businesses. Commercial experience there will be very good. And the leadership team, we have a new Chief Financial Officer in Kingsley Hall, joined recently, and our leadership in engineering, programs and manufacturing, a lot of which has come from the car industry. Our entire manufacturing and supply chain team are out of the car industry, and that's kind of world's best practice in high volume, highly cost efficient production of electronic goods. That's a little corporate snapshot on, I can take you through all the detail on that, on how we've been tracking and the background of where we are. And this is how we see the future. So very much ramping up Nano in 2020, accelerating the new generator program, filing our 510K for Rover in coming weeks. Hopefully, every indication is we'll see the Nano orders continuing through the winter and spring of this Australian year. We are expecting a reasonably fast track 510K approval of the Rover, and that leads us into a first contract with the US Army, who are extremely anxious to get this, because it's offering them the Rover will offer them a capability that's about 4 or 5 times better than what they're using at the moment. We also hope to have our first prototype of the backscatter imager, the counter-terrorism product, operating later this year, and be under contract with the Australian Defence Force for Rover. So those are some future milestones. The Mark II rover with the extended performance is one of the big things for next year, and where that takes us. And we're expecting the growth off the back of the US Army interest in that. And also the development of a prototype system for our airport security. There's a benchtop prototype that we have to do under our latest contract from the British government there. So beyond that, it's Nano Rover and getting the backscatter into customer demo and the production line established with the launch of that product in early 2022. That's our target for break even and profitability, particularly with driven by the Rover and the backscatter imager. So extremely well positioned post the capital raise here. We're in a great position. The COVID acceleration to the X-ray market could not have come at a better time for us. We've got a new product just launched last year, and as a result of this surge in demand, it's getting into a lot of countries, and a lot of we're already seeing feedback that a lot of people are appreciating the benefits of this when they actually get to operate the Nano and see how it works, and the stuff that is perhaps in the spec sheet doesn't jump out at you, but when you've got hands-on and you're using it in trying to do 10 or more X-ray exams an hour, then some of the design features that we built into the unit really make a difference. So that creating the awareness of the product and its benefits, I think, will position us well for the ongoing sales in that area. Obviously investing the money to capture as many of the Nano sales as possible. That also helps the Rover. We've got about 80–90% parts commonality between those two units. So what we buy for Nano is also usable, and in the long term, the production line for Nano and Rover will be basically the same production line, with the two variants being produced simultaneously. With our current cash position, once the placement and the entitlement offer is done, will be about 21 million, which will extend our funding runway well into 2022, which is a nice position to be at. So that's a quick snapshot of where we are and the excitement in MicroX. So
thanks very much, Peter.
Questions?
Yeah, you're certainly covering all bases with the company, with health and military applications. So we've had questions for both these products come through. If it's not commercially sensitive, perhaps you could shed some light on how much the Nano product in particular sells for. So that's the health product that you're commercializing.
Look, there is some sensitivity to that, obviously, because trying to find out what your competitors are selling for is something that a lot of people spend all day, every day doing. a lot of this business is done by tender, and if you know what your competitors are tendering, then. But let me give some color. Most of the top line mobile X-rays, and we're talking about products here sold by Siemens, by Philips, by Agfa, by Shimadzu, by GE, and indeed by Carestream, are somewhere north of 100,000, between 100 and 120,000 US dollars a copy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And our price point, because our X-ray tube is so small compared to the competitors, the engineering job in designing the cart and the articulation system to hold that over a patient is a lot simpler, a lot smaller, and so we're a lot cheaper than that, because just because it's a smaller, simpler unit, designed right. Simple. So our price point is significantly below that.
Mm-hmm. Good to know. Thanks for that. And I guess the company has a dual focus, not a split focus. It's a dual focus on health and military products. So your recent capital raise, someone did ask a question that you previously advised that you didn't need additional capital in the future. Obviously, these things do change with demand and such, but what changed in that short time in the company's thinking? Was it something to do with the imminent opportunity with the health product, or was it more so that you could see the opportunity with the military product?
Look, the world from mobile X-ray just changed overnight in January. It's that simple. I mean, when we did a capital raise last year, we had, no one had a clue the situation we would be in right now. And look, I have to say, we were even a little slow to draw the linkage in January between COVID and chest X-rays, but the market just changed. I mean, every X-ray manufacturer has been through the same thing. The demand, it's not annualized, but I would say in the last 3 months, most X-ray manufacturers have been delivering at a rate that would be between 5 and 10 times what they would normally be doing. Mm-hmm. So it's been a huge and so trying to meet that demand, it's just like the market changed overnight, and trying to grab our share of that procurement and use that to introduce this new product to the radiology world was the biggest thing that drove us.
So there's a lot of short-term and medium-term demand, and as you've pointed out, that when hospitals do complete their purchases in the coming months, how do you see that affecting demand over the long term for your product?
That's a very interesting question, and the answer is nobody really knows. One thought is, and there's two ways it could. One thought is that demand might not be as strong because basically all these units have gone into the market. Interestingly, we were having a conversation only last week with I won't name them, but let's just say a large German-based X-ray manufacturer. That they were of the view that the COVID experience is actually going to change the way radiology is done long term, and they think that the demand for mobile X-ray is going to continue to increase, because everyone will discover just how cost efficient it is.
So it's not just portability and ease of use. It's a cost.
Well, it's speed of use, because I mean hospitals are short of money, and if you're short of money, you're short of manpower. So if you can use less manpower, less people to get X-rays faster, you've got a more efficient operation that saves the hospital money. And realizing just what with a unit like the Nano, how quickly you can get X-rays taken compared to the usual ways. Then their belief is that going forward, much more imaging is going to be done by these portable machines, and much less by these giant, expensive fixed rooms. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, I think they're right.
Yeah. Well, pertinent to that, Peter, and maybe to wrap up, can you give us an indication of the size of the market for the Nano, given the excess demand from COVID-19? Can you add any color to the size of the market?
Look, I don't think anybody knows what how big it's grown in recent weeks. It'll take some time, I think, before anyone can kind of back calculate exactly how many units got sold. But prior to that, sales of top of the line integrated digital X-ray like the Nano have been running globally at around 2,500 a year. And there's probably another 7,000 of the older, much more simpler ones that are a lot cheaper, but they're not digital. They're still using wet film to produce the X-ray. And that was always the growth market for Nano, to be the lowest price of the integrated digital, so that when healthcare systems in Asia and South America, for instance, start to move into digital X-ray, then the first price point they come to is the Nano. So it's very much designed for that secondary market in place, and there's 7,500 of those kind of units sold every year. So it's a good size of market. It's no question.
Very interesting. Thank you so much for joining us today, Peter, on the line. It was great to have you present on MicroX.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed it.
Thanks, Peter. Next up today, as part of the NWR Virtual Health Conference, we have Visioneering Technologies. And Visioneering Technologies is an innovative eye care company committed to redefining vision. If you want to know more about that, stick around and we'll be back in about 5 minutes' time.